Alright, so we're heading into game number 3 in the grand final for the Warchief Club number 11. And we've got Stormkeeper spawning again as English, unsuccessful on the last game, against Dieg spawning as Abbasid Dynasty. So being Abbasid, he's gone straight on the mill eco, skipping the herds, largely just looking to bring them in just to stop his opponent from getting on them. These guys have spawned extremely close on this map. So I think it might be a quick one, considering the spawn distance. And a very forward hunt here for the Abbasid player, while the English player, nice and fairly defensible hunt. Actually, sorry, hunt not going to be of any consequence because Abbasid can't go for them. But in terms of the berries, this one's also quite forward. A lot of the berries are over the English player side this time, so a little rough for the Abbasid player for the map gen. And this time the gold also a little bit more generous towards Stormkeeper, who sort of got dicked over on golds in game number 2. So Stormkeeper just going to go for that early mill. It's a scout here for each player, but neither of them looking to go for a second scout, I don't think. Now the beauty of English farms in the late game is you also can use them to generate some gold. So even though these are going to actually have an extra 100 food on them, the Abbasid player is going to gather from them quicker as well. Or House of Wisdom going up. So buildings within influence of this are going to get some bonus armor. So I've never actually played Abbasid yet. It's interesting learning how they actually work. So you age up through progression to Golden Age, and on top of that you do get access to different text based off what you're actually aging. So additional food text going to be available to the Abbasid player, I believe is how that's going to work. So this is as much as a learning experience for me as it is to anyone new tuning in. How close is he? So oh yeah, you get research speed and gather rate for having more buildings around it. Well, the wings are what actually let you age up based off the number you've got. So getting the building itself doesn't actually age you up. That's why it produces that a little bit quicker. So Council Hall, the standard landmark going up, versus the House of Wisdom, which is I think the one landmark for Abbasid, I guess. Early barracks here, and Hall here for Stormkeeper. So he wants to look at putting the pressure on fast, with maybe a mixed man-at-arms bowman push. Age 2 just about to finish up. A Dieg. Oh, okay, so it halves your villager cost. It only costs, what, 175. So it's saving you 25 per at 175. What's that going to cost? 7 villages to pay for itself? Stormkeeper. Age up kicking in now. I wonder if that's worth going for early on. Preservation. Well, we got forward outpost here for Stormkeeper. Interesting, it's going to give him possession of the boar and the relic. Obviously, the boar is only going to be of consequence to him, but I suppose Diego can also go for the relic at around the same time he can. So there's already some bowmen here for the Abbasid player. English player has had early racks, but hasn't actually started producing any man-at-arms yet, so I suppose he's only just going on the gold. Once he gets a couple more farms, there we go. Keep his house for the minute, so he needs to try and get a house in here quickly, which he will do. Well, Diego, is he going to go back on his herdables, or is he going to go straight to another berries? So Diego at the moment's cut his gold gathering. I mean, he's only on food, wood, army production, and I think he might just be looking to try and maybe get more eco-tax and then just get food wood income. But Stormkeeper walling off the middle of the map. He spotted this blacksmith. I suppose gold for the blacksmith tax makes sense. That single scout harass, it's not really going to be of any consequence. Not do any great damage, but it is going to tell Stormkeeper that his opponent is looking at getting some armory upgrades and looking at mounting a fairly aggressive H2. So Steeled Arrow already on the way. So that fire armor just going to be that little bit more useful. Make it a little bit harder to take. This outpost creep here. It's going to be able to deny the gold of Diego, but he does have some up on this side. But I can imagine that's why the scout's here, just to make sure Diego's not looking at getting on it preemptively. But meanwhile, Diego going to be able to maybe secure these berries, or in the meanwhile go for some harass on his opponent, picking off the wolf. Doesn't want to take any damage preemptively before he gets in his opponent's base. So Stormkeeper can't really see anything here. Diego just gathering food off the sheep for now. Lots of wood, adding a racks. Off any eco tax. No, I don't believe so, other than his wheelbarrow. Well, no wheelbarrow yet for Stormkeeper. So Diego not really successful with anything yet. Stormkeeper, he's going to be able to get a nice pick off here, deny the stables from going up soon. Thought he was going to go for a barracks, but he must have cancelled it. So now Diego going for a bit of a run, resetting his wood line. Smart of him to do so quickly, rather than mucking around. And in the meanwhile, he's managed to get a ram out, so he's gone for the siege engineering. He's cancelling the stables over there because he was just making another one here. age 1. I mean golden tier 1. So he's got 10% more gathering because he's got 10 buildings inside the build radius here. And now he's got a ram creeping up against Stormkeeper. He's going to try and take out the racks. And meanwhile, Stormkeeper picking off a couple of vills, and he's got a nice trade here, I think. But he's going to have to back out and try and harass the vills in a sec here. So in the meanwhile, Stormkeeper has managed to snipe the ram, but at what cost? Because it's going to cost him a lot of these vills. He's got vills and bowmen fighting against bowmen. And that Rax does need a repair, but Stormkeeper can't afford to stick villagers around. But meanwhile, Stormkeeper invading the woodline, going to get a couple of vills for his trouble and thin out the bow count again of his opponent. Fighting just outside TC range now again, so this is great. He's going to pick off another vill. But in the meanwhile, Diego's brought everything back and is going to be able to try and wear down the men-at-arms, who are only early. They don't have all their upgrades just yet. So a couple of men-at-arms going down. Quite costly unit. They're 120 versus, I think the bowmen are what? 70? 80. This has been rough for Stormkeeper because now Diego has horsemen out. Stormkeeper, you're going to have to rebuild that Rax just to get his spearman production here. And now I think he might be pretty drastically down on bow count. So it's 37 workers and 25 military to 28 workers and 10 military. So Stormkeeper really struggling with vill count and army size coming out of this. Diego a little bit more successful on both the attack and the defense there, I think. And Diego certainly has a lot more wood income, so it means he can definitely cram in more rams and more production for sills behind this. In fact, I think he's all good for production. He's up to the stables and the 2 ranges versus the 2 racks. Well, the second rack's incoming, and the first rack's in the council hall for the English player at the moment. So, Stormkeeper gonna have to be on the defensive here. Diego looking at mounting a push, but he is going to be slowed down by those walls. So Diego. Oh, Diego actually can gather off the food. I thought you couldn't as Abbasid, or is that only as Delhi? So Diego gonna go for this hunt over here because I think he knows he's pretty safe. But there is some bowmen coming in. His own ranges aren't too far from this though. So Rams moving in for Diego on Stormkeeper's base. He does have a nice bowman count and even some mounted arms here just to torch these Rams. Stormkeeper now having to switch focus to the bowman. That's a lovely bowman count there for Diego. Over here, Stormkeeper harassing Diego. So I'm going to have to let the cat out in a sec. She's been sitting nice and calmly, and now that we're in the final fight for game 3, she's starting to hassle me to let her out. So Diego definitely with a much bigger army here at the moment, but he's still got some man-at-arms to deal with, and bearing in mind horsemen are nowhere near as good under the range fire as the man-at-arms are. But in saying that, there's just that much here for Diego. I think he's going to be able to win this. Trade here and take out that Rax. The Ram gonna sort of be forced to go for the outpost or get out here because he's not going to get the council hall in time. That last man-at-arms might fall, and there is still horsemen threatening the bowmen. And now they can start threatening the gatherers. of Stormkeeper, which is really rough for him because now he's been pushed back off Diego's hunt over here, and Diego has managed to get onto a safer one up here at the top side. So now the outpost is going to be the focus point. Stormkeeper, I think might have been trying to get the gold to go to age 3 behind this, but just didn't seem to have enough to get there, and now he's sort of caught with a bit of a differential in the Vil count because he's down to only 24 Vils to Diego's 48 at the moment. So Stormkeeper in a really rough spot trying to defend this. He's going to get the Vils brought up to take out the ramp. He should be able to get this, but it's costing him important gather time at the moment. And Diego can just eat the military loss there and retreat. So he's done well to build himself a bit of an advantage. And I think I might have to go let the cat out. I'll be 2 sec. Sweet, so I've got the cat out, and the cat's out of my room. And now Diego looking at trying to wall off here. These outposts haven't got any upgrades yet, so you can just look at cleaning them up. Stormkeeper for the moment is safe, but he's severely behind at this point in the game after a couple of really rough fights against him. So 2 horsemen here to defend the villager against the scout. This is really smart of Diego to bring these guys here. But now that tower is going to be able to mess with the villager. He's not going to be able to finish the wall up down here, but at least it does give Diego a little bit of vision. That's what's going on over here. As you'll see when if his opponent tries to rally around here. So the ram finishing up for the Abbasid player, who's going to add a bunch of stables behind this. Diego got the resources. He does have the resources to go to age... In fact, he's already got age 3 on the way. To get preservation of knowledge, reducing his upgrade costs, which would be very handy for this blacksmith he's got here. Now the ram, going to clean up the outpost of Stormkeepers. Age 3 kicking in for him. Stormkeeper, I think, is still also... Oh, he's got 600 gold in the bank, but he's cut gold gathering at the moment. So, eco-tex wise, don't think he's added in any just yet. No, not just yet. So, Stormkeeper locking that gold up now. Although I suppose if he gets to 1200 food, he can always go back, get another 200 gold, and go to age 3 from this point. But that's going to be... Ooh, he probably could have actually turned and fought that and actually picked off a horseman. So Diego a little bit lucky there. And he is now gathering all over the map, all the way up to the top. Because I suppose he's really running out of food around his base. And the farm transition is not quite as easy for every other civ as it is for the English. But Stormkeeper now can't really leave his base just yet. He's not out of the woods just yet, and he is going to need this King's Palace to help him catch up on eco with his opponent, because Diego right now sitting on 65 Vils, Stormkeeper only on 31, so Stormkeeper's now got to really rely on the fact that English eco can be a huge powerhouse once they get this age 3 town center landmark. More houses going up. But the Abbasid player really probably could do with moving up a lumber camp here, maybe adding one here and one here, just to really cut down on that travel time. He's adding a lot of houses. I think Diego knows once he macros up a little bit more, he can just collapse on Stormkeeper, as long as he doesn't leave it too long for Storm to catch up on Vil count, which he's going to be able to do, considering he's now got 2 town centers to his opponent's... Oh, actually, sorry, take that back. Diego's got the 2nd town center up there. Forgot all about that. But even still, it means that at least Stormkeeper's not going to fall behind on Vils. And if he does gather some stone, he can always get a 3rd town center and actually start out-producing Diego Vils and sort of catch him up at about 120, 130 when they're gonna stop Vil production for good. But getting there is going to be tough because Diego, no doubt, going to have an army advantage very, very shortly with all this production. He's up to 4 stables, he's got 2 rangers. Meanwhile, Storm, 2 Raxes, and the range landmark, and some Knights already forcing Storm off some gathering, which is big because he's already down on workers, and now he's going to have to position himself well to keep these Vils alive. So Diego rushing in on Storm, and over here on the other side, there's no movement yet from the main army, but these Knights should be almost enough to outright fight these Bowmen, because unlike crossbowmen, they just don't deal the damage against Lancers and Knights. And so now, with all the Spearmen and the Man-at-Arms dead, it's really rough. It's going to be really rough for this army of Stormkeepers. He's going to try and kite him around the town centre, but without shitloads of his own Knights or Man-at-Arms or Spearmen, it's going to be very tough. Another wave of Knights, while the main army just sits here chilling. I think at this point with the eco differential, Diego can just keep trading like this, taking more and more Vils, keeping that Vil gap until he can just about close out the game. So we've got a bunch of Knights here on what's this TC landmark called again? The King's Palace. So does it actually have less health than the town centre? Or is it the same? Either way, it can't garrison as much, so it's going to be a bit rougher off trying to defend it. Just have all the buildings around it too, and all the Knights definitely have put in the work here for Diego. I think he might have this one in the bag from here. And that's a lot of garrison villages here for Storm, and there just isn't enough resources in the bank, just isn't enough production on the field for him to be able to turn this around from here. So that first landmark is going to fall, and GG. We have our victor in Diego. He wins the series 2-1. So that's the America's Trials done, guys. And we'll see you tomorrow with the main event for the Warchief Club 11. Thanks for watching.